Hello, everybody. Welcome to another update from Wales at the Chess Olympiad in Budapest. I've just finished round three, which I'll be doing a recap video of either later today or tomorrow morning. But I didn't do a recap of round two. I'll come on to the reasons maybe later on. One of them was that my sister was visiting and I wanted to say hello to her, and some of the Scottish team also came over to the hotel, so it was great to see them. But in round two, we were paired against Moldova. Many people that are following us a bit closer will know this. This was obviously, we won the first game, so you tend to yo-yo quite a lot in the Olympiad. So we played a relatively weak team in the first round, although they played way above their grade in some cases. And then you get to play a super hard opposition, which is pretty good. And then it kind of keeps yo-yoing until towards the end it starts to level out a little bit more. But this was their team that they played in round one and round two. You can kind of work out the results already, but we'll go into that in a second. So you can see that they had Ivan Shipko on board one. He's a GM, 25-27 rated. And then they had Andrei McAvoy, who's a IM, and then Jegor Lashkin, who's an FM. And those top three boards are relatively quite young players, which is why they've been put up there. But their board four was Victor Bologan, who's obviously world famous, written many and authored many books, mainly on the King's Indian and Sicilians, and many other books as well. But he's their highest rated player at 25.98. He used to be 27.30. They did have a fifth player, but he wasn't paired against us, who doesn't look like he's played a game yet. So it looks like he's either hasn't arrived or he's maybe not feeling very well. So it looks like they're sticking with these four. But in the Olympiad, you don't actually have to play yourselves in board order. It depends what you submit at the start before the tournament begins. So they deliberately put Bologan on board four. Maybe because they want him to get wins against the harder opposition, and while the top three can hold, or maybe they just wanted the younger guys to play the top three boards to put more effort in, more energy in it, especially boards 2 and 3. I guess Andrei's up for wants to get a GM norm, and Jegor wants to try and get an IM norm, or maybe GM norm if he can do. So this was going to be a real big fight. And the team that we put out we had Jose, our IM, on board 1, and then we had Dan Kozizek, our FM 2. Greg Toshchek took on Jegor, and I took on the highest rated player Victor. And we'll have a look at my game again, probably because it's might be the most important one. But okay, in the end we did go out 3.5 half losers, which was really disappointing because actually about midway through the match, absolutely anything could have happened. We might have been completely outrated by these players. Well, I'm telling you, this was a really close match. Jose played a fantastic game against Ivan on board 1. He was better all the way through. He's a little disappointed that he actually wasn't able to find the killer blow, but did hard out in the end. Daniel says that he had a miserable time, but I believe that he did defend for a long time and had a good go, but ultimately came off second best. And then Greg, unfortunately, it looks like he blundered a piece when there was some time trouble going on, and therefore fell into trouble in that one. He was doing really well at the opening. But okay, maybe I'm biased because it's my game, but I have to show you this because this was obviously the match that they desperately wanted to win, because they put the highest rated player on board 4 against little old me who's only 2200, so it's could be problematic for us. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the opening because it's we don't want to release any preparation or anything like that, but you can play through the entire game obviously in your own time as well. You can go onto live chess, which I believe actually went down for this game, so you couldn't actually follow on live chess. It looks like they had some server problems, but you can obviously go on chess.com if you want to as well. Let me just make that just a little bit bigger so you can see the name at the top. There we go. So this game was really important because you sat down. I'm playing against somebody who's nearly 400 points higher rated than me. He's been 27.30. He's authored books on things, on openings and everything. This is the highest rated player. Second, maybe no, it's not the highest rated player I've played because I played against Spain twice in the Olympiad. But he's one of the highest rated players, maybe legends of chess I've ever played. And it would have been an amazing game had it gone differently. But the thing is, when you sat down against an opposition like this of this caliber, and you're playing black, one of the things that you really want to do, part of you wants to think, you don't want it to be embarrassing. You don't want it to, like, the game to be finished in, like, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and your opponent's basically game time on the clock, and you're just there struggling what to do. And it very easily can go like that if you get the wrong variation, or you get the wrong kind of opening that you weren't predicting, and then all of a sudden you start to spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes on one move, then on a couple more moves, and next thing you know, you're in time trouble. They've got an hour on the clock, and it starts to become a bit embarrassing like that. So that's one concern. But on the flip side of that, you can't go into a game of chess without thinking that you can't win the game. You have to go into it thinking that you can win, and this is one of the mistakes that I made when I was younger. When I was very young, maybe late teens. When I was playing against GMs, I was like, oh my god, they're amazing. I should hope to try and get a draw. And maybe I gave away a couple of draws when I was like a pawn up, I think. And actually, you need to be treating every single person that you play as if you're going to win. Play the game as if you're playing to win the game. And I was really proud of how I played this game. And of course, you can click through the opening moves and get to that point. But really, we're doing it at this point here. I've just played rook to f8. And really, my opponent really wants to put this knight on g4. It attacks my weakness on h6 and also attacks my rook. It's a really good square for the knight. He can't currently do this move because of bishop takes h5, pinning the knight to the queen. So he desperately plays bishop to e2. And those of you that were watching will be like cheering on as this move was played. I don't know how sound it is, but it's the top computer move, which is rook takes f2, rook takes, king takes. I think he maybe could have tried bishop f3 there, but now queen takes here. And this is basically how you want to play chess, right? Go after that king. It's out in the open. Okay, he was sacked in exchange to get it. I was thinking at least I'm going to get at least a pawn for it. And so I've got something to fight with here. And he comes up with some defensive moves. And then apparently at this point, I have a win. And it starts with queen h1 check, king here, knight here check, because his defensive move of bishop g4 I think was really poor. He was actually better here if he plays it correctly. I shouldn't have gone in with the knight apparently, but it looked like the right thing to do. And bishop g4 didn't look like a bad move, but after check, king here, knight e4 check, it went king e3. And here the problem is I'm down to 11 minutes, he's down to 10 minutes, so we are playing pretty quickly at this point. And I think that the problem is here is that if you look at it from Black's point of view, what moves would you consider here to play as Black? And the king's in the centre, so you're looking around for moves. What should I do? What should I play? And really, the first moves that come to mind, hopefully, and pause if you're watching on record, then by all means pause the video and try and figure out what you would do. But the candidate moves that you get to choose from are usually captures, checks, and threats, right? So this is a check. Okay, there's no other check that kind of doesn't lose the queen. So queen takes queen is possibly a move. And also just queen takes pawn. Queen takes pawn looks like a sensible idea because you're going to come to f2 and give another check afterwards as well. I can't see many other threats that we can do here. So therefore, these look like the candidate moves to choose from. In the game, I went queen takes g2. And he took here, which I was surprised at. I thought he can just take here and go back to here, and I don't think I've actually got a checkmate. But he took this, I'll go knight b4, and he was completely shocked, you could tell. And you can see we're down to 5 minutes and 4 minutes here. And then he goes back with the bishop. And apparently I'm not doing too badly here. And here, this is kind of like towards the end. And I make a mistake here. I play knight c6 check, and I shouldn't do this. And I'm a bit disappointed. I thought I had less time than this. I wasn't down to 3:29. I thought I had less time than that. I should have done queen takes c5 here. And thinking about it now, I'm pretty disappointed that I didn't do this move. Apparently, I'm still drawn here at this point, which would have been an amazing result if I got it. But even better was, and I did this, and this is just now lost. I haven't got enough checks for the king, so I ended up just losing, just a piece down, and had to resign. But it would have been absolutely the best win of my career had I found the win in this position. It would have been the best win of my chess of all time. It would have been one of the greatest victories ever, maybe by a Welsh player, but maybe not. I mean, it depends. It will definitely be up there in the top. But it probably would have been my best win ever in my lifetime had I seen this move that actually just wins. And I'm still not 100% sure if I know all the variations as to why it wins. But apparently the move is queen to h2, which is pretty difficult to find. There was a couple of people watching, and somebody said I think it's actually really difficult to actually find this move. It's not a capture, it's not a check. Maybe it's a threat that you're going to go here check or here check. You've got 2 checks on g3 and f4. I should imagine the point is that after you go here, it also defends the knight just in case white does do c takes d5, or they take here and give this check, and go this way. So you've kind of like got 2 different ideas here, and apparently this is just completely winning. So suppose something like this happens. Let's say they take this one, and maybe king c7 is more accurate. We go queen here check, I believe. Or is it actually no? It'll be would it be queen f4 check or queen g3 check? So queen f4 check, and they can't go to d3 because of knight f2 check. And even though the king is can move to here because we've got the bishop attacking the queen, we're just going to give this check, and then we take the queen next go on d1. So you can't go to d3, and if they go to this way, well then we have bishop takes h5 check, giving another check, and actually it's going to probably lead to some sort of checkmate in some way as well. There's a high probability there that would happen, and we can take the queen after maybe giving another check with our queen. So that was the kind of like the point behind it, that queen f4 check was so strong. But I actually think that like something like bishop f3 is a defensive move, but actually just queen g3, and the idea crazily I think is just to go something like g4 and just win the bishop. Which is just mental, right? To play queen g3 in this position and just play g4, win the bishop, and you get 2 pieces against the rook, and win the game. And that would have been. I mean, if I'd have found that, I had 11 minutes left here. I'm looking at myself thinking I spent 2 minutes over this, 3 minutes over this move. Queen takes g2. It just looks so natural to play. And I was thinking maybe I need to save time. We're at move 28 here, so I still had 12 moves to make in 11 minutes. So I thought I might need some more time for later on down the line. Queen takes g2 looks so natural. I should definitely play this, and unfortunately, it was not the losing move. It was I still had drawing chances after this. But I mean, it's yeah, I'm disappointed not to find the move, but I can understand why I didn't find it. I think it's really tough to do, but I'm just so happy with how I played this game. I gave myself chances to win. The opening, I was able to stand toe-to-toe with him for a long portion of the time. Did a sacrifice to try and win, and I got a winning opportunity against somebody as great as Victor Mulligan. It's just amazing to actually play these players and to have the opportunity here. And one day I might convert one of these wins, and then it's going to be one of the best victories I've ever had. So I'm really happy about that, even though I lost the match. And I did say actually we lost this match 3.5. But actually, at one point I was kind of winning on this game at the same time that Jose was winning, and then Greg was actually better on his board, and Dan looked like he was holding. So it looked like we could win 3-1 potentially at one point. Of course, we didn't know all of the computer evaluations, but people watching from home, we really gave Moldova a really good run for their money, and I think 3.5 did flatter them. I think Greg went down after a while, so he had a bit of a blunder, I think, somewhere around here. He just played bishop c2, which just a bit of a mistake, and just lost his knight, lost 2 pieces for the rook, and then I think it's game over. Daniel, in his game, just go towards the end. I think he was quite proud that he actually promoted the pawn, but he was completely lost. He said he was completely lost. So here, well, he's got 2 queens on the board, which is quite funny, but his opponent plays h5, and he's stuck in a mating net by the looks of things. So that's pretty annoying for him, and he has to give the queen up, and then this guy looks like he's just going to win it for him. So he's sacrificing a lot of things, and he had to resign. And Jose, I know, was a little bit disappointed that he got to a rook and pawn ending here, because somewhere around this point, well, let's just go forward a little bit. He gets to here, and he's a pawn up, but it's really difficult to win, especially with the heavy pieces on the board. Like rook endgames are quite difficult to win, queen endgames are quite difficult to win, queen and rook endgames, and then there's so many perpetual checks on the king. There's so many endgames where you can be a pawn up and not actually win. So Jose was hoping to convert this, but obviously a draw is still a good result. At least the team didn't get whitewashed 4-0, which is quite positive. We actually were paired with Mozambique today. You can obviously watch the games live. They're going on right now. I need to check in and see how my teammates are doing. I know that I finished, but I'll do another video recapping some of those games and some of the key moments later on today or tomorrow morning. I'll see what's going on. But thank you very much, everybody, for following, and I hope that you like the videos. Give them a like and a subscribe if you do, and I'll try and do some more on a more regular basis. I think I might have a rest day coming up either tomorrow or in 2 days' time. I'm a bit unsure yet about how we're going to play. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the games. Bye-bye.